This is about a sense of humor. I read a collection of nonfiction pieces by Ian Fraser, known as Sandy by his friends. I followed that up with a book of humor edited by the same man. Now, it must be admitted that humor is no clear, simple, and straightforward thing. It's complicated. "Sire," said the jester to the king, and so it is. There are many comedians who make movies that are very successful, earning them much money and fame, and I can't bear even a moment of their antics. But I think I do have a sense of humor, and so I began to read the book entitled Humor Me. In an introduction, Ian Fraser couldn't stop himself from dissolving into pure hilarity at the thought of any of the pieces he had selected. "Get ready. This was some funny, funny stuff," he said. And so I began to read, hoping and half expecting to find myself similarly shaken. Alas, it was not to be. The bits may have been clever or weird and well done, but, for me, they were not funny. One after another, however curious they might be, a gallery of oddities, they failed to ignite a spark of laughter. I began to compile my list of reactions, and funny was not among them. They were clever, silly, forced, overdone, artificial, tepid, lame, mystifying, unintelligible, and in a sort of culmination, decidedly unfunny, or, if you prefer, sick. And not in a good way. Now, I'd like to think that if I were Sandy Fraser, with Sandy Fraser, just hanging out, we would get along. We would understand each other, be able to relax in close quarters, and in general laugh at much of the same material. Now, I know that's wrong. I was mistaken about that. We wouldn't get along at all. We live on different frequencies. Perhaps I have lost my sense of humor. Or maybe there is a more elevated humor, some lofty comic quality that I lack, that is common to people who run around in certain prominent circles on the east and western coasts, mainly in New York and LA. Metro humor. There were some pieces where I thought I was sympathetic to the author's intent and execution, but I would in no way call them funny. And I didn't think the authors would either. In fact, I think some of the authors would be puzzled or distressed to find their work in a collection of comic pieces. On the other hand, they'd get paid. There's always that, so why not let it go? I recall that Chekhov wrote what he thought was serious stuff, and to his consternation, directors played it on the stage for laughs. Grace Paley wrote about getting arrested and going to jail for 6 days because she participated in a peace protest. It was mostly about the people she met while serving her sentence, street people, criminals, not peaceniks, and I did not find them funny. Charles Portis wrote what reminded me of Kurt Vonnegut, staying up all night, smoking and drinking, and calling up men he'd served with in the war, what became a haunted obsession. Portis was haunted too, and I did not find it funny. Paget Powell wrote about being insane, out of his or anybody's mind, and trying to navigate through a day like that, and I found it vivid and disturbing and frightening, but I did not find it funny, and I did not see how anybody, including Sandy Fraser, would ever think that it was funny. That he did, that was also scary. And David Sedaris wrote about having to live with extreme obsessive-compulsive behavior activities, routines really, that he described in riveting detail in a piece entitled A Plague of Tics. Again, why Sandy Fraser found this funny is a total mystery to me. Sedaris goes out of his way to tell you very convincingly that life for him was a living hell, but Sandy's laughing. Well, as someone once said, de comedias non disputandum. In closing, I will recite what I thought was the funniest line for me in the book, attributed to Patricia Marx. Here it is. Catherine the Great adored the French. No, I'm sorry. Catherine the Great so adored the French that she tried to change the name of St. Petersburg to Chez Moi. That I get.